We want to welcome you all to a conversation that we have been putting off for months.
Yes.
And she has been on my head about having some conversations with you all
Yeah.
and engaging with you all regarding the subject of relationships and marriage. And so we're doing it. We do not have all the answers, Sway.
Absolutely agree.
We are still learning, still discovering, still fighting, still journeying together.
Hmm.
But there are some things that we have discovered and found
Hmm.
out in the 16 years that we've been together that we want to share as much as possible. And so we want to use our platform to kind of share some things that have helped us that we've learned
Yeah.
down through the years. And our hope, our expectation is that something that we have learned the hard way or something that has been taught to us
Yeah.
would aid you, would benefit you, would take some of the curve off of your learning experience for you
Yeah.
and the person that you're in relationship with. So she has no idea of the conversation or the topic that I have selected to kind of dialogue with her for you guys or with you guys
Hmm.
about. So we're going to talk about intimacy
Okay.
and something that has been reoccurring in a lot of our conversations with couples
Hmm.
and individuals about relationships is that there is a lack of really true intimacy. And so the question that I want to pose to you
Okay.
and dialogue about is why do you think that there is a lack of open, honest communication in the relationship?
Hmm.
And what should we do about that when there's a lack of? So why? Why do you think that there's a
Why is there a lack of open,
honest
honest
communication in our
communication
relationships,
in
in a
our
lot of relationships?
relationships? My personal answer would be lack of trust. We
Trust with who?
with the person you're in a relationship with. We get into relationships because they look fun and it's the thing to do, and I don't want to be alone anymore. But we don't fully trust ourselves, which means we don't fully trust the person that we're in relationship with. So to completely undress or make myself vulnerable, and I don't do that with myself, how am I going to do that with somebody else?
This issue
Mm-hmm.
presents what problems in the relationship when someone does not have self trust with themselves?
Mm-hmm.
How have you seen it with us, or how have you seen it with other couples? How have you seen that impact relationships?
You
Why is that a
can't
big deal?
build, like, how can you lay a foundation, but it's not built on anything? So you think you're building something just to find out, oh, wait, that's not their truth. So now we got to tear down what we thought we were building to lay another foundation to try to build on that. So it's like for us, okay, I'll use us. We learned early on because we were so young. Number one, we didn't know what we thought we knew about ourselves. So we were on a journey of self discovery while we were growing in love with each other, which meant we had to go back to the drawing board a couple of times. But what we found out that created the recipe for like the love or the connection that people see is I'm going to completely undress. And although I'm afraid, I'm trusting you enough with my vulnerability and vice versa. So it can't be one sided. It has to be something that you guys are both agreeing to commit to. And I mean, some conversations, we started with, all right, I'm afraid this may sound real immature. This might sound real minute, but if it's an issue to you, your partner deserves the opportunity to hear it and address it, to speak to what you're feeling and thinking.
I like that. I think that safety is what I heard you say.
Yeah.
I think that when there is a lack of safety
Hmm.
within yourself,
Right.
and if that individual who you're speaking to is not safe within themselves,
Hmm.
then I think that it makes it extremely difficult to speak whatever is fear, whatever you're fearful of,
Hmm.
whatever you have a what you want or what you desire or what's bothering you. I think that when we don't feel safe enough and resolved within ourselves enough to speak it, number one, the fear of losing you.
Right.
There was a period in our relationship where I did not speak what I was feeling, what I was thinking. One of those reasons was because I felt like that if I voiced it or verbalized it, that you would leave. And so many couples that we have talked to down through the years, that relationship is in a prison because the individual who dislikes something is bothering them, something is killing them, that the other person is doing, or that they're just experiencing themselves. They're living in that prison because they don't want to verbalize it, because they believe that if I say this, if I speak this, if I put words to what I'm feeling, you're going to leave.
Right.
And so if you are a trophy to me, if you are my identity, if you are the person that brings me value, if you are the person that my world revolves around, though I love you, though I need you, I enjoy my time with you, if you are my entire world and you insinuate disapproval, if I say something and you disagree with it, if I am unsecure or insecure within myself about who I am, then I might not say what I need to say to you about what I'm feeling or about what you're doing to me or what you're not doing to me, because I don't want to lose my security.
Right.
So safety within the individual has to be, and I think that for me right now, as I'm listening to couples talk and we dialogue, I think that there is a huge gaping hole in the area of self-esteem, which is affecting safety.
That's what I was thinking.
Can you think of a time that there was something that you wanted to say and did not say it in fear of?
Absolutely. I mean, I would say the same thing. Like, you have this fear of, I've invested this much time in this relationship, and if I say this, will it put it in jeopardy? Which makes it really like fear of the unknown. Like, okay, if I lose this relationship, do I have the wherewithal? Do I have the strength to rebuild again? And then let's not talk about relationships that are now complicated by children and other relationships that have been built around the relationship that you have created with that person. But low self-esteem to me is a blaring issue in relationships. And what I think people don't realize, you can be bubbly, you can be outgoing and still have low self-esteem. You can also be introverted and have low self-esteem. Low self-esteem shows up in a whole lot of ways that we don't necessarily acknowledge. We have like this picture in our head that, you know, somebody got to have a shoulder slumped over and look a hot mess to have low self-esteem. No, you can be put together and have a smile on your face, and your
the baddest one in the room,
and still have personal insecurities that you haven't voiced, and you are trying to make that go away with the person that you're in relationship with, and they don't even know. So you've put a weight and a responsibility on that person, and they're unaware of it, and they're wondering why they can't measure up or why they're still like an issue or a deficit. And it's like, well, you have all of these needs and wants that haven't been communicated, or vice versa.
This is the thing that we learned that we did not do when we first got together. I'm going to tell you why we did not do it. And I'm going to tell you what we should have done. What we did not do is have the honest conversation about our deepest, darkest fears, our deepest desires, fantasies, traumas, because when we got together, there was so much bull in our foundation. We had no idea of what the contents of all those subjects I just listed. So we dated, she says 2 months, I say 3 months. That's a whole another episode.
We started dating in April. We got married June 2nd. Y'all do the math and let him know.
I'm not doing it. We divulged as much as we were aware of. the best that we knew how.
Yeah.
But as the marriage progressed, what we found out is that we had to keep starting over.
Yeah.
And I think that if there's not a strong level of commitment, if there's not a strong level of discipline, we say it all the time, and it is our brand. Marriage is for grown folks.
Absolutely.
Marriage is for people who are ready to do the work, to investigate, because Bishop said it last night. Everything that is wrong in you, everything that is toxic in you, everything that is broken, every traumatic experience, marriage will bring it to the surface.
Absolutely.
It's just like if you stink and get hot, it's coming up. So what we should have did, and I want to say this to help some individuals, some couple out there, you might have to re-establish your relationship 100 times in the tenure of your relationship until all of what is in there, all of what is in you as a man, all of what is in you as a woman, or a woman or a man, and it don't make no difference to me. All that is within you that has happened to you, that has shaped your view.
Right.
That is capping your love.
Right.
That is disturbing you or tormenting you as it is revealed, as you read books, as you go to therapy, as you get hands laid on you, however you get your help. Right. As you talk to family members about your family history, as you hear your family members talk about their family history, then you've got to go back over your relationship, and then you have to re-investigate that. Right. And as you find out that there's a missing piece as to why I behave or respond the way that I do, then it is imperative that you come back to the person that you're with and say, hey, I found out the reason why I do this. Right. And I want to apologize to you. I want to take responsibility because I've been charging you for something that really was broken in me. I just didn't have the awareness or the verbalization, the verbiage to articulate it. Absolutely. So this is a major thing that hindered intimacy. And I think that, to our original point, this is the reason why there's a lack of true, honest conversation. Right.
Okay. Example. I got an example.
Come on.
Okay. So I came into the relationship at 21 with John. Super, 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 super independent.
And me. Use me.
Let me get to it. Man.
Don't forget.
I wasn't always mean, but I did have a real strong mean side. But I came into the relationship super independent, and as he said, mean when needed. But I was taught independence by a single parent who was literally just preparing me to be able to survive by myself, not to be able to survive inside of a marriage. So never had conversations about, hey, this is how you treat a husband. This is how you treat a man in a relationship. She was giving me life skills so that I could survive if I lived my life alone. So once I became aware of that, I then was faced with an option. Do I acknowledge that to my spouse, which means I got to be humble, or do I continue to walk in something that is tearing away at the fibers of a relationship?
Because how long did we do that? How long were you there?
Ooh.
Out of the 16?
Out of the 16, probably the first 6 at least.
Woo!
And I say that because I want to say about year 5 is when I became aware of it. But you have to remember, okay, so year 5, I'm like 26. Mm-hmm. So I've done something now in my life for 26 years. So to unravel and untie and unwind that takes conscious effort. It's a daily thing. Okay, I'm waking up this morning. Brittany, you have no reason to be independent. You're in a relationship with a man who is providing and taking care of you. Y'all are building together. If I'm doing something together, that means I'm not independent. That was something I literally had to remind myself every day until my brain registered it as truth.
I'm done. So this is tedious. Mm-hmm. This is not overnight.
Yeah.
Our relationship has been blown up several times.
Yeah.
When the foundation is bad, whatever you're trying to build on a bad foundation, absolutely, sometimes you have to knock over whatever you've built to reestablish that foundation.
Yeah.
But if you love that person, if your commitment that you made to God and to that person is real,
Right.
then you will do whatever is necessary to make sure that you are well and that that relationship is well. I think that the relationships that are poisonous are not because the relationship started poisonous, but the individuals brought that poison. You
Yeah.
brought yours,
Mhm.
I brought mine, you brought your pain, I brought my pain, but the entity
Right.
wasn't wrong or negative or
Right.
poisonous,
Yeah.
but what we brought into it was. So that is how you. Let me say this about shame and guilt,
Mhm.
and I think that we'll wrap.
Okay.
So we'll recap, man. We'll be done. Why is there a void of intimacy in honest, transparent conversation in our relationships? And it is because we don't know what's in there.
Right.
There's denial that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
There's protective defense mechanisms that defend that pain that is causing the lack of intimacy.
Yeah.
It is the fear of loss.
Right.
But there's also the difference. I love talking about shame and guilt because I lived under it for the majority of my teenage years, at least, into my marriage. The difference between guilt and shame is guilt is I did something that was wrong.
Mhm.
I made an error. I made a mistake. I did it.
Yeah.
But shame goes to the extent of not only did I do something wrong or not do something wrong, but the wrong that I did has become a part of my identity.
Yeah.
I am what I did. Matters not how long ago the situation occurred.
Right.
Shame comes with an identity that rests on or in that individual that frames them in an alternate identity.
Absolutely.
So I am what I was. I am what I have experienced. I am what was done to me. And I think that is another thing, another occurrence that has happened to us that is robbing us of intimacy. So we wanted to give some information, some wisdom. We wanted to share some vulnerability about some of our story, about how we lived in a state. We just roommates. There was a time in our relationship, I ain't telling you my dirt, you ain't telling me yours, because you're gonna use it against me.
Yeah.
And it was because we were trying to protect ourselves.
Right.
But go ahead, what you want to say something?
It wasn't even like, like we'll say we're protecting our dirt, and I think it gives people this thought process of, oh my God, it was this huge secret. It could have just been, I'm feeling inadequate today, but because I'm not secure in our relationship, in our intimacy, I'm not going to voice that to you. Although my actions are speaking to the fact that something is wrong, I'm not going to take the time, the effort, or the energy to communicate that to my spouse, although I should, because of the fear of rejection or abandonment, or I'm not going to get the response that I want if I do choose to be vulnerable. So I think that we also have to educate people on that. Like, it's not always like a huge secret that you're, hiding from your spouse or your mate.
That's good.
But just taking the time to communicate where you are emotionally, mentally is huge, because your spouse can't show up for you unless you take that time to share and be vulnerable. And we just don't do that. Like, we expect our spouses to just pick it up in the air. And it's like, but why? If we're in a relationship, right? Why won't I just take the time to be like,
open up your mouth,
babe, I'm feeling a little off today, and then talk it through. So,
well, I like that. That gives that person an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have trust issues and you have lived your life, as you said, independent, then that means that you never gave or rarely gave people the opportunity.
Absolutely.
So if you're in a relationship with someone and they have shown that they love you, you have to give opportunity.
Yeah.
Now there is a conversation that we need to have about an individual who fails to come through.
Right.
But if you are trying to live out loud and be honest and to grow and to not live in a prison within yourself, you've got to speak what you are feeling without the fear of shame and you're going to leave me. But give that person an opportunity. Some people that we have talked to, and even ourselves, the person that you are with is looking for an inroad for an opportunity to be there for you. But if you are steeped in independence and I can protect myself and I don't need nobody, then it's going to be a hard time to cultivate and grow intimacy in your relationship and get you said it the other night, you have always wanted family and community, and she's just a bubbly lover now, but that shell that was protecting you was keeping you from receiving the thing. You said it. Keeping you from receiving
the thing that I wanted in my core.
The thing that you wanted in your core. So give the person that you are in relationship, you really believe that they love you, give them the opportunity to love you and to come through for you. You need a hug, ask for one. All right. Marriages for grown folk. We love y'all. We'll do a couple of more of these as time goes on, but we wanted to share with you. If this helped you, if this gave you insight, if you got a question, drop a comment under the video or a DM. She's terrible about her soul, but she's gonna do better.
I'm gonna do better. That's one of my goals. I'm gonna do better.
All right, commitment. We ain't wait till the new year. So if you're watching this, give us a shout out. If you got a question or something, inbox us, and we're here for you. All right,
absolutely.
Marriages for Grown Folks. Peace.
Bye.